Hey everyone, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home. Thank you for joining me, and as you saw in the previous photos, I'm going to show you how to do a double slider card. There's so many different ways of doing this, and I tried a few of them, and I've got to be honest, I like this one where you put the mechanism onto the front of a card. I think it works better in the long run, so I'm going to show you that way. Now I'm going to show you how to put it onto a 6x6 card. If you're doing square, all you've got to do is group it together and pull the size out to the right size. If you want to do a 5x7, what I'm going to suggest first is that you make sure the card is top folded, so the fold of the card is along the top, because obviously the front of the card is going to be heavy, and I feel that this is the best way for the card to sit nicely without falling forward. So I just wanted to give you that tip. Anyway, let's get this going. So I'm going to show you a couple of things first around here that I don't really need to actually show you. So this would be the card, 6x6. Obviously it would be double fold. I'm just using it for sizing everything else. So you would use a 6x12 and then fold it on the 6 inches. Or if you've got a ready-made card, they sometimes come a little bit below that because the envelope would be 6x6. Just so that you're aware of that. But anyway, I'm just using this square so I get the right everything fitting on the front of the card. This would be the matte layer that I'm putting on the card before I put the mechanism on. So that is just 5 3/4. Like I said, if you're going down, if you're using a ready-made card and it's a bit lower, then you need to bring everything down by 1/4 inch for everything to fit. Okay. The next bit is this bit. This is the main mechanism, and I'm going to show you how to do that because of the holes. So let me just put everything to the side, and then I can just show you everything. Actually, we'll keep them two, and we'll put them over here because I don't need to show you how to do them again. They're just squares. So we need another square. So this is for part of the mechanism. It's kind of the cover of the whole thing, and we need that 5.5x6. And if we bring it over, alright, let's move this over. We'll bring it over to the X and Y, which is the grey line on the board. This grey line here. Oh, look at that, I've got it perfect. 0, 0. You want the X and Y on 0, 0. And then we are going to get the path tool, and we want a score line on the Y at 50. So, because that's 1/2 inch. So we've got a score line at 1/2 inch. Change it to a score line. I always choose the third one down. It's more spaced out, so less chance of it ripping. Okay, so we've got that. And we want 2 of them. But first of all, I'm going to get another square and a circle. So the square we want, maintain aspect ratio. We want it at 5.5 because we want to get the center of this bit without adding this bit. That we're going to do at 1 inch, and we're going to duplicate. And all we're going to do is make sure that they line up so that the middle point here is on the line. If we get a bit closer, I can show you. Okay, first of all, I need to line these two up. So I'm just going to do that with that and make sure they're lined up down the middle so that I know they're on the same line. Now you can see the circles out. So I want this middle little blue square here on the line. There we go. And now I'm going to go over and make sure that one is also on the line. Just need to move it over a little bit. And then display, zoom to matte size. Now we are going to use the circle, click on the circle, the square and the other circle, and make sure it runs through the middle. We need it in the middle of the square, not the middle of this whole thing. Okay. Now we can remove the square and get all these and subtract. So now we've got our fingers, finger grips. And what we need to do now is offset. I want it inward. I like the spacing of 0.12 for something like this, or you can do 0.8. Okay, we needed to do that so that we could get the right curve on these, but obviously that means we've gone too far here. So all we need to do now, I'm just going to duplicate that, and we want to go just so that it's just below the score line. You haven't got to worry about it being in the middle or anything like that. Just make sure it's just below the score line. Hold shift and click on that new layer and subtract. And now we've got it the right size. And then it's just a case, now it's the right size, you can do another layer. And there we go. So that's what these two are. As you can see, I've done the same thing. So they're the layers for the the matte layers for the outside of the mechanism. And then that you would use as, resize it to 575. And then that can be the matte for the card. So we've got that. Now we need to do the main actual mechanism. I am going to use this square, and we want it at 5 1/4. And what we're going to do, we're going to just take a little bit out on each side. Rectangle will do. Now the size of this we need to be 4 1/4. So we're going down an inch in the height. We're going to untick maintain aspect ratios. So the width we want at 1 1/4. And the height we want at 4 1/4. So the height I've gone down just by an inch. We want 2 of them. And first of all, again, we're going to line the middle little blue square there with the lines on the rectangle. Again, if you're not sure, go in a bit closer and you can be more exacting. There we go. That one's perfect. And then you're going to grab all 3. I've just swiped across, and make sure that they are in the middle. Once you've done that, you're going to subtract. And you're left with this. Now, this is the main mechanism. So that's that piece. Can you see? It's that piece. So now we need the 2 bits that come out on the side, which are all these panels here. Now I've done it so that we've got this little shape here that's going to attach on the end. First of all, let's get the 2 shapes we need. So we need that one there and this one here. Okay, so this one we are going to spin 90 degrees, and then we want 1 inch width with a 0.5 height. You can see there. We're going to use that in a minute. First of all, let's get this to the right size. So the size we want for this is 4 3/4, 4.75 by 3 3/4, 3.75. And then we are going to add this on just as a little extra. Now, the thing with this, it might be better if you add it on once you know where everything's going. So if I show you, for instance, this is going to be going right in the middle of everything. And then this has got to attach to this on this end, like that. So then if we get the card, it's going to be about there. You don't want this bit going further than the card. So that's what you've got to think about when you attach it, which is why I've added all this, so I can see where I am. So I know that's sticking on there, and I don't want this going further out than the card. So that is about right. Now you want to check it goes through the middle and then weld. And that's your piece. I'm going to undo, because the side panels, you don't want them to have the arrow piece added to it. So we will do our offsets now, and then you can weld them too, just so you know your panels have not got the arrow bit in them, because you want to be able to write pull on there. I've done 2 layers. If I show you, so I've done it coloured just so it's easier for you to see, not because that's the colours I'm doing. So like that. So you've got 2 layers on, and then you'll put something on them as well. I think that's everything. You're going to need 2 of these with the score. You need 2 of them, because they're going to stick together and everything's going to be encased inside. So you need 2 of them, and when you do these, once you've done your one, you would then copy and paste, so duplicate, and then I would flip it. It doesn't matter if the pattern you're using is all over, so it doesn't matter which way up it is, but if you're using a directional pattern, then make sure you cut it out doing it opposite like this, otherwise it's not going to fit. And also I've kept an extra one of those, and I'm going to stick it on each side just to reinforce it, because that's the part you'll be pulling, so you just want an extra bit of weight. And I think I have covered everything now. All you need extra is a piece of film or cello bag, something like that, that you can use. I'll show you over at the craft table, and I'll show you what size I used and everything like that. I've just used some packaging from one of my purchases, so that's easy enough to use as well. Okay, I think I've covered everything, so I will see you over at the craft table. Okay, so I'm over at the craft table. I've cut everything out and I've put some layers on, not all. Right, so I've got my card. I've done myself 2 out of 1 12 by 12 sheet. So this is my card base, and what I mean when I say the fold at the top, you want the card opening that way rather than that way, because it'll be top heavy that way, whereas this way it will hold it much better. So the way I've done this, there are quite a lot of layers. I have this glittery sheet I bought from, I think it's Home Bargains, and what it is it's sticky. So it's sticky back glitter paper, and it's actually really nice for things like layers. So I am just going to use that as the base layer of the card. It sticks down really nicely, as long as I don't mess it up. Well, let's not worry too much. I've messed it up at the bottom, but hopefully it won't notice too much. And then this is the mechanism. So I've already put the front layer on, but what we're going to do, we are going to stick along here. Now I am just going to use this as much as possible right now. My hands are tough and I can't deal with the glue bottles very well, so I'm having a bit of bother. I wouldn't normally stick to these because I prefer wet glue. So first things we're going to do is put this together like this. So then it would close. This is what I need to make sure that I've done it straight. I haven't done it straight. This is why I prefer wet glue. Okay, so to make sure that I'm doing it straight, I am going to measure it up like this. There we go. Yeah, so I know it's straight both ends then. But we need to keep this bit open. So this bit is going to be stuck straight onto here. We'll do that. I would use wet glue, like I said, normally. But my hands are deciding against it. So I can't squeeze the glue out. So you want it in the middle of the card. Like that. Still leaving this other side open, because then we've got to deal with the mechanism. Now the main part of the mechanism is this. And that's going to sit there. And this is where you need, I told you need a bit of film. Mine is just packaging. Like this. I'm not going to tell you a length because you can cut off what you don't need. So I haven't cut it very straight. And it's too wide. So you need it so that it will fit in here. I've done that way too wide. Okay, that's better. So you can see I've cut it down. So now it's not straight, as long as none of it goes over. So these bits here are to stop it coming off the mechanism. So first things first, you want a bit of tape running down here. And all you're going to do, if you start so that this bit is right on the end there, and then wrap this over, not tight but not loose, if that makes sense. So you want it firm, but you want to be able to move it, because what it's going to do is go round like that. I'm hoping you can see it because of the tape, but it needs to be able to move round. Now I've got that, I'm just going to bring it to the edge, and then I'm going to cut off the excess because we don't want any extra.
There we go. And then we're going to get the tape again. And we're going to run another bit on top of what we've just done. Like that. And that is where, if you've got it facing a certain way, so this is the one that's facing up, that's coming out that side of the card, and you want it as close to the edge as you can get, because that's how we've measured it, okay? You can see some of mine comes over the edge of that, so I am going to trim it so it doesn't, because you don't want to see it when it all comes out and ruin the secret. Because then what happens is that is how the mechanism works. So on the back of it, you're going to put the other one, but you want it facing that way, and you need to stick it on. So this time we're going to stick it, actually. Okay, so really you need to have stuck the extra sides on first. So I had this beautiful snowflake paper, and I don't know if you can see it, I'm hoping you can. I just put on top of it the Pin Flare glitter wand, the iridescent one. It picks up all different colours, it's beautiful. It's lovely. And it gives it a really lovely sparkle, so I've used that. Okay, I'm going to try and use my glue bottle on this. Okay, I should have done that first, but because what we need to do now is put tape along the edge of this, so we know where we are. And this is going to go this way down so that it's facing forward when you go to open it. Yeah. So the opposite side to this, and we are just going to stick it on the other side just before the end. And it's just the end you want, because the rest of it you're going to show. And then what happens is it opens and shuts like that. Obviously that's not going to happen because it'll be stuck down. But that's the kind of basic mechanism. So now you can stick it down with tape. I just had some, this had some, well, it had some of the silver sticky stuff on it, and I just used it to cut some thinner strips of black tape I had, because it's dark card. And you're just going to put bits along each of the bars on both sides, making sure that you don't catch the bag. You don't want the bag sticking to the tape. And I'm only using 1mm. Some people don't use foam tape, they just use double-sided sticky, but I've used 1mm foam so that there's just a little bit of room for the mechanism to flow a bit easier. I know we try not to do too much in the way of weight and height, but so then we're going to stick it to the middle of the inside pocket, which is the back ones. Making sure you get it even. And this is where it counts, that these arrows do not go outside the card, the main card. Like I showed you on the video, you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So now that's stuck down, these won't get stuck. See? Very nice and even. Okay, so now you can close it. We'll put all the bits on afterwards. So we've got that, but we've also got this. Didn't think about that, because that really should have gone under that. Let's see if we can get it back up. Okay. Just mistake there, but at least you'll know. So we need, I'm actually going to use glue while I've got it out because of the way that I messed up there. So you need glue along there. And I am just going to do a little bit under as well, so it can catch the tape again. And we're just going to slip that under like that, and hopefully everything else will go in its place. There we go. I have to say, as much as I like this glue, I do prefer Pinflair bookbinding tubes because the bottles are softer, so they're easier for me to use. But I got a load of these when I was getting the tonic craft kits, so I'm just trying to use them up as much as I can rather than wasting them. It's a good glue, it just, yeah, it can be a bit tough to work with. Okay, so that's all my layers. And I know this looks a bit Christmassy. It's actually not, believe it or not. It's a winter birthday card. Although it'd look beautiful as a Christmas card, wouldn't it? So then I've just got loads of snowflakes. I'm just going to use a snowflake topper there. My black foam tape. Again, it's only 1 mil. I only want a little bit of height because it's going to have enough height and bulk as it is. Oh, I think I like it like that. There we go. So just a basic snowflake on the top, and that's all I was going to do. And now I can show you that the two sides will come out like that. And it will still stand up because the fold's at the top. If it was like this, it will be top heavy and fall down. So that was the point of that. Okay, so now to decorate everything else. We've got these two. I've got two little sentiments. I wasn't sure whether to put that one on there. And I've got winter birthday wishes that is going to go on one of them. And I'm going to do it. Oh, I've done it in the silver so that I can glue it flat. Just need to. There we go. So that one is just like that. And this one, I wasn't sure whether to put it on top of the snowflake or over here. I think I'll put it over there. So again, I've used that double-sided sticky glitter paper. Let It Snow doesn't necessarily show Christmas, does it? And then I just cut out loads of snowflakes. Not necessarily going to use them all. A couple of different sizes. So, there we go. That's the one I'm doing today. It is for someone whose birthday I have got in mind, and her birthday is just a few days before Christmas. So for me it does fit perfectly. It would make a beautiful Christmas card as well. But the style of the card can be used for anything, because I've also done this like a man's card as well, and it fits that perfectly too. So it's, you know, this is my my practice one, but you know, it makes a perfect man's card. So the slider is very simple but works really well. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helps, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.